Okay. All right, okay. Ebras 7:19 and 7:18 on the dot. Yenin komo abakos history 101. And then komo yetiatia. And komo yetiatia. Minim se what nan kran hasi ya. Minim se what Christian village. Achimota Christian village. Minim se what Osu Salem Christian village ha Salem this. But yenim the India in the middle of Accra. Yibenya bibi to say Christian village. In fact, Christian village wo Achimota. Say wo a wakɔ hɔ ana wodi mpɔ no woduru a wotumi hu sɛ old settlement. Mre bi a etwa mu na menye abakɔsɛm nsua ade enkɔ akyiri nhuye no. Na ma adwene ye me sɛ too early na ma adwene ye me sɛ one of the yenuanom nkranfoɔ no ɔmo early settlement ni because oko Christian village interior no ankasa no a enye ne die ya tonton sase no e dey ama private developers but senka be 10-15 years ago senka oko Christian village wa Achimota around Achimota forest area mu ho no a obehu se edan no esisi wo no ye tetete dan anwea dan pa not dan kokko pa ye de bamboo dan bamboo na akuri so na ene waje bre na mini waje bre abakosem dwumadi ne ye hwe ekwan a efa so a those settlement no they came about na ye ni no nko a o ti asenye eno ho enko ehun nko ankomo na ebedi efiri se out of the 148 na ewa atiasefo asase isu in nature 171 out of these countries no were colonized by the British Empire. Now British Empire did not only colonize these people and these lands. They created new boundaries. What I say? They created new boundaries, created new countries. Countries they never existed. But the name open suwaba betisesa or mine they etiase. Ti ne waje bre na meswa waje bre abakosem dwumadi history 101 so. Enene yebu nkompo ade ahwe ye chiri ni ahwe ekwan e fa so a yebenya some of these settlement a uko osu Salem oba Achimota Abokobi Madina Abokobi all those settlements ni nyina no ekwan a e fa so a e baaye abakosem dwumadi history 101 bidin ede nana chidom memo ajo ema wakwa babi now ye di en common ye nyina ye behunu se in 1874 and British for a declare and they present day Ghana no as former colony ema ne be the Gold Coast colony. Now one would say in 1874 the British Empire decided say after countless slave rebellion on numerous slave plantations a mass slave trade and yet lucrative anymore and into the penny who say business a wodi usika kwehemu a inipa no awokọ akoto no ebi wo ho a ewo kwan so meda asekraku na omo ankasa adran ne omo ho the Igbo landing what the omo plantation ni mu a they rebel what you say cause destruction ti abrofo no be hunu say the slave business trade it is no longer lucrative. It is an idea a kwan bi so near abolition. What I say? The abolition of the slave trade ushered in the colonization. But what I say? Na ebra abrofo no ejitu mu se enkoaton enye abrabopa enya de pa no enti yade asesi ye jai saa abrane bo no enhimfu bi a ewo Ghana ha say decide say there be business we there abrofo no esi wo jai ya omo no enhimfu no ne some colonial missionaries ebeka omo tamu abom na oma di say adwuma no omo dwumadi enim no de ekokofa ba ye eho enkomo ene na emi ni wahia yi yebedi eho enkomo na se de dai meka no o se initially medical ma what ase se wo share the British Empire 180 something in nations what ase 187 countries are ewo we are seeing now. They have colonized 171 out of these countries. Na waboko colonize ya ube unani sen wama create a new state. What you say? It ye ne say we modern Ghanaian and I say we the ne ube from modern human being. You will come to see these countries and what but enye oman ankasa se wo for instance baby ti say Jordan. What you say? Oman bi ti say Jordan. Oman Jordan enye oman a enye oman. What you say? Oman Jordan was created by the British. Just to control the Middle East. You see the problems bebre no akwa ba bebre wo Middle East ni bebre no mostly some of the creation, the destruction of the Ottoman Empire by the British Empire. Well, you know, after the First World War, the Peacock and Sykes agreement, the Balfour Declaration, and all that created states. Or might be to say UAE. What I say? Or might be to say UAE, and your mind. What I say? UAE and your mind, the creation of the British Empire. What did the major say? For instance, to say Nigeria, for instance, a tribe more than 250. Well, the British Empire no, ekeka omu ina bomu, they forming the nation state Nigeria. Yefa baby to say Nubia, ancient Sudan, and ne yaba bechemu mienu yaba benya northern and southern Sudan. What you say? Artificial unity. Problem no ana air cause wo Sudan no. Na enye Sudan for and ana air cause problem no. It was UAE and Israel. UAE any nyankopon crop for Israel. And they behind the atrocities and the problems are air cause wo Sudan. But to solve the problem no, divide and conquer into yeche Sudan mumienu. Yaba benya northern Sudan, southern Sudan. Yenfa ye cry Ghana for instance. Ye Ghana for instance. We had the northern territory, the Ashanti Empire, and the coastal belt, which I said the Fantis and Fantifuano. Etini nyina ne yenye baako as oman. It was the British and the Bekan Yeboom in the Gold Coast colony after they defeated the Ashantis. Obuka colonies ni nyina bo huma ne beye. Wa Sudan ne South. Je nya North mpo. Ya be South Sudan. Etika ye Ghana ha say kebia kebenya the Ashanti Empire and then the Fanti Confederation. But then what I'm so sure about listen the Ashantis would conquer the Fantis. What I say ye nuanom Fantifo no amaki ye nyina e ba be one empire. Now wo hwe bibia ye hwe bibi ti say Iraq ni Iran. What I say Iraq ni Iran. Ayo kro baako. Wahuno, a Krobako. But the British, no, and after Persia, what Encophobia arguing encore so on say, Sabi girl, may I say, what any public arguing encore so on say, Iran, and yet Arabic country. Yea, Africans, what we don't know, Iran is not Arabic country. Iran, cornerstone, Iran, about the Islamic country, but any Arabic country, a Persian state. Iran was conquered by the Arabs. But I think he said, and Kremonu was forced on the Iranians, just like Nkremosun was forced on some of the Ghanaians. No, the Iranians are not Arabians; they are Persians. What you say? What you might be to say Kuwait? I might be to say Kuwait, and yet on mine, Kuwait was created for oil control. Kuwait was created for oil control. And yet on my beer, a yet it might be a never. The one we don't understand is this. The Gulf regions no oil. And the area see here oil no to power your industries any year what you say your machines. To me, you know, air control, we are saying the global cabal. And they decided, say, any Gulf region countries, no, monton crude oil in dollar. That is the rise of the petrodollar. It will be our Beba Qatar, or Beba UAE, or Beba Bebiaso, or Beba crude oil, no, even though Muamu currency, no, Mamonton crude oil not in your currency, sell it in dollar. And no nama dollar ababenya to me. Eti yefa say ye Ghana, ye here crude oil. We have to convert the sikano from CD to dollar to import it. There be an US dollar no ababenya hodene. And no na amaya it decided say yes here wa sika. We have our currency. We will trade in our currency, no, and no, and now they will come after you. And when you go into history, you find out, say, people like Saddam Hussein, people like Muammar Gaddafi, the Iranians, and they are sorry, it is because of all these things. Well, no. Now, here's India. Take India for instance. Would you decide Pakistan in your mind? Pakistan was carved out of India. Because after you destroy India, no, say you created an Islamic state. Pakistan was created out of India to form an Islamic state. I might be to say, my memo top 20 artificial countries created by the empire. What do I say? Top 20. Created by the empire. Let's go. Nigeria was created by the empire. Iraq, Jordan, Sudan, South Sudan, Libya, Kenya, Uganda, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Afghanistan, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Namibia. They were all created by the empire. In your mind, it's just for control. Say the baby a oil one, you bet me assessa oil nediako. Baby a gold one, you bet me assessa gold nako. Baby a what I say is they create strategic states. Strategic states. Mamika say binchira. unim between Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli leader, and the Kuwaiti leaders, no Kuwaiti leaders. No. What said they be Adam catcher was say, and Penny for a catcher was say you were terrorists, a group be a mere terrorists, are more terrorizing Viase, a destroy Viase. Tubefa Bibi to say Al Qaeda, Hamas, any all these Al Shabaab, any those organizations. What you say? I had to be a big say. Where do these people get their foundings from? Hino munyo musike free. Apparently, you know, say the creation of Hamas no, a linked back to Benjamin Netanyahu. And according to the Kuwaitis, no, Benjamin Netanyahu almost say afibiano yema Hamas for $25 million for their operations. And the Kuwaitis said, put it in writings. Correct. Said the bear or because who no quaffo. What that the we are seeing now? So we yanko ponkro for a brekwa wasifo free Poland. Udian Kasa Eddie Benjamin Milikowski. But said the bear obeda the we are sick. Ame we are seeing ni penina unu sampa yanko ponkro for binti. What that say? What that say? We yanko ponipa. Now free Israel. Ebrekwa free Europe. Poland. Well, no. Now, we call Achimota Forest inside there. We will say the American as in Kurapa Ewo Achimota Forest. Madina Bukubi Osu Salem Ebi Wahosa. Ubiwa Busa say, Nanachi Domine Nakobani say. Ena sa enkuro wi ana sa brono yi ebe pie mu ewe ikuro yi ehun asem nie yeti ha sei na abrofo baaye and once again mame nye adwuma we menti adwuma we free ho because me hunu say minua Manase Awuni Azuri Edi nano ato reparation slave trade reparation hun common hun bia the opeso ochira ne say enka slaves no or use or refer them as donkeys so na say ye were donkeys and na abrofo ne ba e no beto donkeys no and na abrofo no decide say omo be use donkeys no brutalizing donkeys no it is a donkey. Now Toma farmer, na farmer ne the donkey ni ko. No ko you see donkey no anyhow. Wow, turn donkey no, you don't have any right to demand for reparation. Na winning. You see, I am now one more. This uncommon. I'm tempted to believe say Eyakuma fine na omudi di san komo na dwen boni ni akiri na ebia na enkomodie no omunim die ene etosi. First and foremost, yen situate ade we in its right context. Obi obeka kira wo say na slave trade existed on this continent called Africa before the advent of the Europeans no. Kachira ni send na chidom hini say there was nothing like slave trade on this continent before Abrofo ever this continent. Mameka se minchiremo on this continent and all over the world. The Enaya want to say we have prisoners of war. We have prisoners of war, and war there is as old as man. What I said, you have prisoners of war. Die nipa binum ediaye die nipa binum di aye nyina so a wo mo di gina so edi aka ne say, for instance, after the creation of the Ashanti Empire in the 16th century, the Asantefo no eda okonfa no chiase. What you say? Yema no gold and ka obefre slaves enipa be 100 aye de dan ase. What omo person omo can say? Enipa no aye de dan no ase no a slave. It was not a trade. Mameka say mo. War is as old as man, say them and every war biano, there are casualties. They are prisoners of war. What you say? Constantly they forming the Ashanti Empire. No? Constantly they were at war with the dangerous. Constantly they were at war with the dangerous. Dangerous no echichi womu eton womu. Dangerous no na echichi womu ton womu de ma abrofo no. Before the creation, before the formation of even the Ashanti Empire, no, the slave trade was ongoing on this continent, on this land. One more. It's the abrofo that this slave trade by. At worst, what we were doing was, Yavan said, Aquamuni Denchera, Echo Kuan. Why you be defeating Mono Yachichimu, Muaya Bo, Mono Yachichimu as Enkwane and Nonko. What I say? Okay, Kwakugreen.com say demand and supply. If there were no demand from whites, there would be no supply from them too. Yes, sir, adieni nyina ne say. Kwakwe. Ene ya me ne uti he kra ne. And that context of slave trade no one person who painting no, it is still ongoing. Because a labor. Ene sankrofo bese sankrofo de omuko ebuka mu ekọ ba bi de omuko koye adwuma da bia. It is still ongoing. The idea, the year can one seven, as I know, the evil behind it. So we see a nipa no machichire no me bono or one ba and yane dia. What you say? Ye breedy and akwala 14 years near Yashasia Mane, because that is what we are talking about. And that context is what Manasseh Azurimo. They are foolishly not getting. Say will be torn in slaves. More slave market bako. What single slave market bako on this land before the Europeans came. Baby are not a before. Na ya bo dwa na ye ton ye huma ye hu. We were selling ourselves as slaves. And who said Elon Musk? That vile man or Twitter, no, can't answer me be said slave trade is as old as man, and slave trade, no, a community be a no crap. Missy Abby before young Kwana will be the bonny DN or gaslighting. Esa so many quiet a bonina or dear DN a fort. Yep, any nipa wo we are higher will be dear bonia. No, sir, touch it, no, say, who say. As a yena ya ma ye ho kwan na obi aye yesa nti ye fort ba mi kan Manasseh Azuri sa abre no kana wo maame wo yire ene wo anaka wo ne wo yire kwafuom ene wo me kwafuom ene wo mo achichi slaves ni bi ba chi wo kwan so be kwam wo kwan so no mo chi wo ne wo yire ne wo ma ne ko ye koton wo mo a. And can they count na hand kase slave trade no it existed before that brofo neighbor until the end ho asem. Slave trade it never existed on this continent. Never. Abrofo. They sold themselves. So peso huna Europeans no wɔn di kan tɔ wɔn ho ansa no wɔn ba bɛtɔn yɛn. Look at what the British did to the Irish. Look at what the British did to the Irish. Now, it is about making slave trade now. Ye come once them. Ye come once them. Ti akwasi broni aba. Openipa akwa ye de amano. En ye TMI mu ha ye bo pa. Ye gi adopa ye fa nkrofo de koye adwuma e wo nkrofo asase so da bi anti we know that. Ye nim sa hoho bi firi ba bi ba no amosi wo mu hia nipa de akwa koye adwuma, we know it. But the Ekokofa Adiani said it became an industry on its own. That is what we are talking about. It became an industry. I now I employ and crofua 24/7. Woman na me mura mu omo chichi nkrofo ma ne nkrofo yire ne nkrofo nuanom ekoton wo mo mabrofo. Until after the abolition of the so-called slave trade, 1874. Ne yesimu obi anchi onipa dasani enkoton ni biem. Mu obi anchi ni nua enkoton ni biemu. Abrofo no a eto no. Abrofo no a eto slaves no. Esisese wo magya eto. Yelto slaves ni biem. Eye. When abrofo na omo tone so omo agya eto a. Nana do dankwa akufu ado. Le nana. Wasi hene ha. Nana do dankwa akufu ado. Ghana former Nana mo akwata of the Ofori pennies too. That means Abre Nana Ofori ata odi kan. The maternal grandfather of Nana do Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Oni Nana Kwesi Akufu of Akuapuma Kurupon. Akwesi Akufu of Akuapuma Kurupon. Abra abrofo ne ka say slave trade no eye evil nti yenyan no. Sa ehimfu we mienu se da. Eye Nana do Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Onana. Both from a Kurupon and Achima Buakwa. I'm saying that ya preda ya be ton Ghana fo nyina. Ya be ton mu nyina ama brofo no. Ti abra brofo no fight no. Abra nko ye fight say slave trade na ye evil yenya no. Na Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo ne na busuafo say da ya ton Ghana fo nyina. Nti omo de omo enyayi o. Omo de omo enyayi na omo guso. And omo smuggle from the northern part. What I say from the northern part of Ghana. Omo ni omo gang. Omo import no omo export, omo import no omo export, omo import no omo export. Now when on the 17th of March 1880. On the 17th of March 1880, ye charge one with the British Empire and they charge one with the colonial government, no. E charge one with say, hey, Ohene, Ade, and then we are seeing in Nigeria to slave trade yet. Ade, we are seeing in Nigeria to say slave trade no air cost one, and yet. Aden na mo de mo guso a mo cheche mo nkrofo ton wo mo nkoa mo kan ye ntie Aden enna muguso wahini mua anka sesa wo bo nkrofo ho ban wo ma wo nkrofo ne ho ban a wo abopaa wa create gang yeye brofo no a yeye tomo no yeye tomo no yeye ba ye be tomo no yesi ye wo se da on 17th of March 1880 yebu bokwa adu to ne so ekowie ne se wodi fo se adenti ni ya ban the slave trade no na enhemfo akase mienu mugusu da so che mo nkrofo people from the northern part of Ghana sa na moton na de kokoba ye ni well say na Swiss German Basra Presby and the Basel missionary now wo opani bi ane e friend no A.C. Smith wano na wo ye report what you say e dey condemn some of the European missionaries and no mo ne himfo no akonaive a wo mu di sa adwuma no e na wo mu ye nhihye say himfo ne say slaves no omo wone de enya de ombe jai omo tiu himfo ne say slaves ne de omato omo enya omo de a tinya de omo be jai omo. This is what the Basel mission did. They bought the slaves. They bought the slaves back from Ekufuado Ebushiano. It is slaves, no? Now ebi wo Ekrupon, ebi wo Achima Ebuakwa, and all different places. Abrofo no etua slaves ni nyina ka. And wo mu decide say, "Wa say ye jai mo. Munye slaves bi. Na mom ye create a Christian village. We are creating a Christian village. Wa wo beba ho bi no, you have to convert into the new religion, Christianity." What you say? Wa wo beba betna village ho bi no, you have to convert into our religion why they about Christianity. And many of these freed slaves no moved. What you say? Moved. And these lands so and sansa no sansa ya make am asemi missionaries no the Basel mission no they bought some of these lands from himfo no and almost settle sa slaves no ananado danko akufuado and ananom ni ada himfo eka ho no decide say they will not let them go free no they freed all of them kept them and almost bie schools no. But as in schools now, Salem Day, it was created because of all this. One more. It was created because of all this. One would say, one and Quadano. Nkwada no aye di omo baaye ebe joining sa Christian village and this Salem. And mind you, Salem no is a short form of Jerusalem. But as a Salem, Jerusalem. That is what Abrofoni created out of that. Out of that. Now, my problem is this. Ekoban is saying and Achima Buaka, that particular family. That particular family, no. Minim die womo any abrofono. You pick JB Dankwa for instance. You pick Oforiata for instance. wo hwe wo utterances any wo ne ye wo manam wo tutu ye ni nyina na omo ntoko omo ku nyina na omo ku amabrofo JB dankwa ye twa sika wose ye mfa kwenti na ento so ase Ghana fo no ye koto ye nitire wabro eti san kwada no a out of the slave trade no ye di omo betna all these you know they became the colonial clerks abrofo trainees san kwada no what you say to become colonial clerks anything na Ghana no e wo ho saa no wuhunu enkrofo a eye adwuma mo oman no asin public sector workers no all their decision making no is not for the state. So they were near to form one. Every independence time. It is Sancrophone no. A Jumana warrior will free more or pursue any warfare, say an anne back and a coshebo. They were trained by the colonial masters. One more. 80 Christian villages no Legon Apenkwa Abokobi what you say Madina Abokobi any all those places ni nyina no the missionaries no establishes missionary centers ni Christian villages ni nyina na ni takitawia any provide lands no kini takitawia and they provided the lands no I work has the missionaries. Later the British Empire no ebe bo Basel missionaries for na abaso se o ma ya de pa se wo ma boa ami ye to slave trade na se ye kan medical moatia says abakosem wo we wansua e wo kwan e fa so repeat ne ho ne ye hwe kwan e fa so a saa enhimfu ya ye ka o masemi wo mo nananom ye di tumi hye wo mo nsa ye hwe kwan e o mo de ye man nso sa fa so what you say ye hwe e kwan a wo mo fa so e de ye man ya ye de afa so now one would say domestic slave trade no ane enhemfo na de wo ho ahihim. Historian Ray A. Kai won the book awatu ni din Kai Settlement, Trade and Politics in the 17th Century Gold Coast no. Mami ko to bibi kakra from Openina was say the abolition of slavery in 1874 did not immediately end servitude. Domestic slavery and pawn ship continued in various forms well into the colonial period. In some no American and a historian Ray A. Kai ADST to say the abolition of the slave trade no and ended the servitude. Now domestic slavery, domestic also because nana do danko ekufu ado nananom etechiri are domestically they are still selling people. What you say? Say I will kind book your friend Love J Transformation in Slavery. Similar your penny your friend Paul E Love J. Eddie Assembia to Jamada Roma Mumami Kotuna was say emancipation in West Africa was gradual, contested, and often resisted by local elites who depended on slave labor. Timi pacho ye chantro. Ye chantro. Abako sem ye chantro. Wonu enhimfo any empanimfo a wo man mu continued to benefit from slave trade. Achimo himfo, ekuapemo himfo, wamu nyina benefited from it. It is the 17th March 1880 case no against Nana Amoakwata, widely documented in Colonial archives. So Penino, after the abolition of slave trade, no, he was still involved in it. Ye kabibia was it that in the parliament home. You see, a lot of historians are confirming a broader pattern of assembly are making. Openly, your friend Richard Rothbone. Also, the Nanua to Sankomuya Yedi, but I'm a mommy coaching was colonial authorities frequently accused chiefs of misgovernment, a term that often included the continued use of pawnship and coerced labor. Yen chantro soon to be also. Agozia, let's say, what I say? Say, oh, kind, and Nkrumah and the chiefs, Garrett Austin, Edenano Atu, and Semibia, Mumami Kotunwa. And my source from this one area, Austin, labor, land, and capital in Ghana. Austin, labor, land, and capital in Ghana. That's my source. Gareth Austin, and Ukruchi is a bookie. Madam Mami Kotuno, I was say, pawnship, which closely resembled slavery, remained embedded in the social and economic systems in southern Ghana. Mebwa. This is it. Ya wankrofobi wo ya man mu ha me na me catch you say. They are play omo bomb am awaiting no. Omo bomb awaiting no. Na me koti yen so ya se ayi slave reparation ne wonkomo no opanis Piogabra. And I see Ghana man pani John Dramani Mahama say woni animu na reparation bia na ewo ho no akos wo mo hwe no muntua wadama mesreo opanis Piogabra opani no minini hu asem na so opani no ne nana ono so slave trade ni bi oko second year the Mercer family no mo yes town slave traders omo asefo any Piogabra any ba ko no one people in Japan Mercer na Japan Mercer lawyer okaza obie na no kasa pe no unse oye adwuma ma brof obie na no opani no kasa pe se wa adwum se wo de spanner emiemia wa adwum mu pe no ahunu se nkrofo we abrofo adwuma na omo ye they are not working for us. Wauno enti nipa atna krom ha sei aton nipa di enye omo ho me na me ka kirew nipa atna ye man mu ha na o ma tete mo ka se ye mmomudi mo ka se ye mmomudi emene emma no enne emma ne ma mehunu de mo nananom ye mo ka se ye betena ho ama mo atena se aba be disika na aba be yete se de mo nananom ye hard working. As a mon nananom were hard working and ye nananom were losers. No, mon nananom were evil. Mon nananom were evil. Mon nananom were behind the slave trade. Mon nananom the ton ye nananom. Mon nananom and the ton ye nananom. Now we've been foolish enough and ya allow ye hu and na mo na mo say di so. We've been foolish enough. because ya tra ho ma mumu nananom aton ye nananom ana yeso ya tra ho na mumu di yeso. We are fools. Me ya pa se me ka ho bi ahye me pa aha me pa me ka chiro play me ya but we have to do something about it. It cannot continue to be business as usual. No. Because Sankrofo we come war mine at heart. They have everything to develop this state, this country. You will be here to develop, but Sankrofo because abrofo na di omo asi ho. Da bia me catch me say kwasi ko gina kwanti akwasi ko no. Enkwala na omu training omu e wo Salem ho no. Enkwala na omu training omu wo Christian villages no. Omu ja omu achi ma omu. Na because enkwala no enim de ye de omu fa mu the slave trade, the torture, the trauma, omu nananom ne omu maame no fa mu no. Enti abrofo no use that sa de no e de control omu adwene no. Ye friend programming. This Ankrofo ni nyina no woni omu di nkomo about Africa, they will tell you, they will say negative things about Africa. They won't find anything positive to say about Africa. Wow. Democracy, that's not making. Democracy, that's what I say. A demon crazy. Democracy, no. My breaking it down, actually, I would say a demon crazy. A crazy democracy. Lebio on say, unfortunately, we have grown-ups. Womu enya spana eniem ya womu adwiri mu a womu pretend this womu ye intelligent. Said the whole president of the United States, the whole president of the United States, Eshe will be botomua. Me ma clue. Go and research about the Adelson family. The Adelson family. Me see the entire president of the United States. Eshe will be bottom. Eshe ebusuye be bottom. The Adelson family. Eshe omu bottom say. Now say the president of the United States Eshe will be bottom one. Ogile say efuom ha say o father. I'm not sponsor Trump. Trump sika, Trump first term. Omoma Trump sika say Trump yi the capital of Israel no move it. Trump anye, he did it. They don't hide it too. They don't hide it. Me na make a chiro. Because they know some new media you focus. So they don't hide it anymore. Plain sight, it is there. Pawns in government being controlled. Well, you salana, who politics, who kunto, Westry. Westry. Maminga be from transatlantic Christianity. Openia your friend Andres Hilsa. What and I quote was it? The Basel mission created Salem communities. The Basel mission created Salem communities, segregated Christian villages, where freed slaves and converts could live under missionary supervision. This is history. Mini Ashedi. Maminya number, Shedi, Maminya number, Niekasa. All right, okay, nice one. What's that? One more. 80, that is what we went through. And segregated in their own. Yeah, can no. Yeah, him for name so pam yan crofo ni bi mo mu kokodi abrofo ne Christianity ni ho. Because yeah can ya wo hene no awo na wo the traditional leader. When I hear the traditional leader. What is when I hear the traditional leader no? Wo no wo chichi wo crofo ton wo mo. Na say the Christian leader no eba no will be free sa enipa no. Who do you think sa enipa no should believe or trust? Me na me hene ni. Sanya me hene kura ni wo a. Me hwa me skin a ene o skin ni nyina ye pe. Ba wo hwe manim aton me. De one me de ne nye pe no abetua sika ma wo se jai me. And what Jimmy de Marco and what Cochera my dear, Sandy Pano, why now free some loyalty at the common? Say, what kind of book are your friend of the recovery of the West African past? The recovery of the West African past by Paul Jenkins. Paul Jenkins, can't see the Madame and Mammy Coaching was say. Slaves were often redeemed by missionaries and settled in new Christian quarters, where they were expected to adapt new moral and religious lives. And when you push all these people into some Christian villages now, a better than young culture almost have if it's a wahini wedding kwasi asemo ente se wahini muwa watimi ahwe nyankopon anim ahwe bronsam atiko adi nkwasi asemo ente se se nipa no a wode sa ade ni di no no ko na se ye ka kire ne se wo ye evil won hihye ne woni ema wodi a kire nyina ye evil a I bet you say nipa no beje adi because wo the evil na adi say nipa. Masa, adie nyenye. That's why I love history. History. Yenfa feelings ni emotions na you. Me da see kisa. You want him for. Ejimi ankasa wo ye man mu me na me ka kire wo. Him for Asha de Jimmy. It's why nobody respects us. What you say? Now, share the missionary report from the 19th century. Missionary report from the 19th century. Mami from the reporter. Or say, from this is the missionary, so from their report to say, we redeemed them till we redeemed them from bondage and gathered them into Christian communities where they may live as free men under God. Why would you pursue your own people in the name of greed, in the name of sika, in the name of niyama? Eti mi va nesa mimi na nechi dom hene. Sabre ofriata ema ye chi me as a slave ni bi. And abrofo no the missionaries no and abetua kama ye free me and omode makọ Christian villages ni bi anase Salem. Se me kokọ wo me bana na ama ewo Christian village wo anase Salem no a wo free se ehemfo na ne abosomsom na ne ayi no asembe no meka fa ho. Wo free se dia asem no meka akire me bana na ama about your traditions and your customs. The very traditions and customs now or hini ni dia gina so e dia enslave me na o kwa koton ne ama abrofo. Ade enye wahu Salem Bridget Mayer owo book a watu ni din translating the evil, translating the devil. Now in the book no or ka asem a enkomo no aye die no very crucial to enkomo no aye die madam mama min quote no I was say Salem communities became spaces of social transformation where former slaves and marginalized people were reshaped into Christian subjects. Exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. Pablo, enti Kwame Nkrumah ebenya independence no. Kwame Nkrumah ye na adwene say I say how did tradition belief started? The traditional beliefs need the abosom no na de bre yen you. Abosom no na de bre yen. It came from Soro. Wapani no a ye friend no Bridget Mayer. Na asem a worker from translating the devil no. And I watched them was Salem communities became spaces of social transformation where former slaves and marginalized people were reshaped into Christian subjects. Into who? Marginalized people. Yefani say will be titumu. Yefani say will be tibogu. Bogu hine ya me achena. Atu buo mu so ye slave ye kwa koton na missionaries ne ba no betua sika me ye free no ne ye de ne ko Salem ho ana say Christian village ho ne ye ko kire na de ko sesa ne sebre no obe wo ne ba wo free sa ne ba no obe na ba be di traditions na enslave ni na chi wo free sa ne ba no wo be ka something good about our tradition in the custom natural sa ne banwana no me kwan kamenye me kwan kamenye eti opani kwame ahen e won ne book a watu ne din slavery and pawnship in the Gold Coast kwame ahen Ghana ni kwame say Christian quarters provided refuge for runaway slaves and pawn seeking protection from traditional authorities. Imagine, say you are running from your traditional authority. Just imagine. Say you have to run away from your traditional authority and be rescued by Bruni. Just imagine. Just imagine. This is what we had to deal with too. Nyebete. Tina debi amikacho say abakosem emfe ni agro. Take it serious. Because history, so one find it serious and what kwan fast repeating it. Yeah, king. San crofo e no omma ene no omma hihye suit no omugire gina yanim no ommo no ommo kire ye de enyen so me kan wo mo nananom bone o ma di egu yasase so ye bra ye bre nyina fi wo mo nananom. How can we continue to entrust our lives into the hands of these same people? Now here recruitment into colonial forces. Abroad colonial they relied on the Hausa people for military and police work. What I said, the Hausa people no, and our rely on for police juma any military works. Reason is that Hausa people no, naturally they are not from here. And I won't tell a casa into our boa, no as our bo. Your castle won't cook on farm, o castle, me pacho on tick what you say, huh? Ain't it, can you worship something made from carpenter? I don't worship anything, no. I don't worship anything. What I say, ena 80 sa eniama no bosom si ya nsum mo bosom ni ya nsum mo enye so eyenkaye uhia moa ewo baabi no akọ hokode moa ukosom uko na akọ nsuo uko bosom fie ho no una akọ nsuo ma bosom no ana na akọ no abosom na diane ma no esom ne de muna modo da sorry fie pra sorry fie e small obia so obia medodo ya abosom fie o man e abosom fie o yan etimi do ya de. Here shared a recruitment into colonial forces. It is something Abrofone did. Sa enkrofo no a enhimfo no more treaty in the name of enslavement in this animal. Abrofo were smart enough through the missionary schools and the Salem and the Christian village. No, omo kan sa enkrofo ni nyina abo and omo ko omo adwene. Nti e programming wo mu nyina adwene am wo mu nyina hunu se mahu mo nhimfo no mo se nko omo ton omo mpem yen ni yepem enti mo adwuma mo ye nyina no mo nya mayen what you say enti so wo hwa the Gold Coast Constabulary, it was heavily recruited from the northern part of Ghana. They recruited the people from the northern Ghana. What you say? Reason why the colonial elite recruit the people from the northern Ghana ni say. Wamu say Ghana for no a free northern part of Ghana no, they are not connected to the southern elite. What you say? The southern elite. Nana adu danko ekufu adu ebusuafo no a the southern part no. They don't have any connections to them. It is uncrophone what they want be police and as a soldier. Their allegiance will be to the colonial administrators. What more? And come here immediately. And what does it do? Mumami enko to David Killingria. And the book I want to need Guardians of Empire was say the constabulary drew many recruits from the northern territories and from freed slave populations. It will be say majority of Ejuma no ane ye colonial works ni ye colonial clerks ni sa nneema ni nyina no. What dey one will say why dwene maso a but ma mentwe why dwene maso What was said Ghana? Abanya Juma. Tribe by a dose wumpaye. Northerners and Evotarians. What's that? Abanya Juma. Tribe by a dose. A womb a year north. And a union Evotarians. It is because of Sir Adieli C. in India. India Brofuni decided, say, they will use the Northerners and the Votarians the more because they don't have connection to Achem Fuanone, Equiapem Fuano, and what the southern part of Ghana. No. Until they cannot corrupt them. So how come Abrofuno decided to use them? One more. They benefited from education grants, institutional support, and influence in the colonial administration. The Zancrophone, Kwesiko, you know, Zancrophone would be replace here. Because Omu ye link, Omu ye connected to Abrofono. Because they feel Abrofono na save you Omu lives. They feel say Abrofono save you Omu na Abrofono save you Omu lives. It Omu be Omu ye nyina is to serve Abrofono. You will problem with your man. You have a big problem. Opening Hoga. I didn't know how to ask me now. What can I say? Or see, missionary institutions were deeply entangled with colonial structures, benefiting from state support while shaping labor and discipline. So what? Ejapia. They are helping them to be disciplined. What you say? Mumu Abrofono. Inti ushia puku yesumase kushia kochi nyankopon bra na ushia bronia chibroni. What you say? They tell them all these things. Inti no, they shape them for the labor and discipline. Into what ya yankofoni bibri. Jatakure jina ho usuro no. Ba usuro broni. Ya politicians bebre wa Africa ha wo ko fe jatabe jina ho ne beko. Ba broni ni tipe kai na ne ho popo. We ya hu broni pe na ne ho popo. Because ya programming o ma dwene no ama o ma hu say broni ni is superior to them. Broni ni is their savior. What you say? Sarah Berry enso de na no ato enkomo yi ayedi. Sarah said there was say access to land in colonial Ghana was negotiated and unequal even among freed population. There go by any bini. All sen kra hanso. Ye wo brono a obekona brono bi wo ho a ohene no wo ho no onye nkrani oye nodna dakuma ehemfo no, they are not Gan. Dakuma ehemfo omo nye nkranfo omo free northern omo free Kejikuri from the northern part of Ghana. Sankrofo ni nyina no were brought into this country Accra no because of sa niema ni nyina. To omo nyina o massive nyina. It will kwa there are places ankrofo tete ho. You be bu sa ho say omo nya nkranfo ada no na ye himfo ha. It is because of some the lands now colonial administrators na jeje ye no. Wo mo na omo de ombetna so no. Ebra the colonial administrators ne call ye no. Land no what you say ebe ye te say hweso mame na ura ewu na asase na ba be ye wo dia. And you find Abokobi, any all these places, you find Sankrofon, any or massive for so motete as a woman and the custodians of the land. But naturally, that is not where they are from. It was slavery, and a deal more day. Eba EBP, ewo sa ewo. Now, rest of all pedasi, rest dasi. Eti yekwa yanimu a yekwa yanim na menkai bibi kakra from Jenkins Wapeni Jenkins, historian Jenkins, and the book I want to begin villages as missionaries, villages as missionaries are. Which them Wapeni say the Basel missionaries sought to recognize African society by forming Christian communities where converts could live apart from the hidden environments. Enti abrofo no share that to create communities are a best separate or new converts no from the general population. So people will go there. When you go there, you go and live with them. Not what part we are saying, what be Christo ni. Enti after their traditions, no customs, no. You will start speaking against it. You will start seeing them as evil. Good. Yeah, I say Salem, how it came about. Na Madaroma say mo mami akutia Ghana religious history and journal. Ena chiri mu the Salem no ehon sem. Iti mo mami quote from the Ghana religious history and journal no. Na yen try and common so I was say the Salem pattern of social organization was a territorial space for communal living according to rules supporting a Christian lifestyle. And such societies, communities now building it was solely based on the Christian lifestyle. It will be was indoctrinated into Christianity. Christianity, because communities was regulated, where missionaries controlled education, controlled labor, controlled religion and morality. Inti eneno ehono ena yeba bachelor what is even wrong and right. Niema no ananka wunim say e wrong and right no. When you go there, they are coming to tell you so they be way. The afe ni eba bachelor bronsam. Rex upon now wunim bronsam wo. Okopie mo na afe ni eba bachelor say problems na e wo wi ase ni nyina no. E bronsam na techiri. But no kure nie. U problems say yesikasemo a e aban. E aban na sese wo hwe toto niema yi. Oti ase nya baifo nya bronsam. Etina Yesu Kristo no o Bible nim no. Wone baifo ene bronsam bia ankwa ankoko. Problem bia wo face bia no. One wo mo a e cause problem no ene e face. The problem in the church was face as of one head on. The problem with taxes will face the government head on. Yasha Abokobi town no, missionary town no. Wamu create no, missionaries ni create the Abokobi center no in 1854. In 1854. Na historical records let me quote from the records that Abokobi was founded by Basel Mission in 1854 as a model settlement. As a model settlement. What model? We are modeling the new Africans to the Christian ways. Said the bear who bet me a cassa one and nano ya passia and puffo, what ya say one and nano small bosom. Said the bear bet me a casse, bronsam ye tuntum. Nyanko pon ye bruni. Said the bear will bet me a cat, Sam Passia 70 b. They model you, they program your mind into thinking, say, we tuntumu, we evil. We kokoa, we nyankopon. Because ya catch now says, who he nyankopon now she have. What I say, ya catch now say. Ya catch now say, who he nyankopon now she have broni assigned. You know what is the big deal? Me could have become a pommy. Kame po me ho na kama ba be nyankopon preko pe cause no ma bre be Satan no ma bre for be Satan tina ga pese me ye nyankopon kakra me se house no na ga me so be ye se nyankopon na ga me so be ye se nyankopon cause Babre, babe ya ni. We ya ni na so be nyina nke bi ya. Ke bi ya me. Etino, ba ja fo bi tumtum ni sa, me fa sa. That's it. All right. Okay, 80 that is about it, eh? That's about it. How these whole communities came into being. Rex Oponsi or here from Australia, Rex with us. Judy, come now, because I almost say Brosavia tutum. Also, Brosavia tutum is me a tutum. My Bronsam, my bread, my Brosam, to go to Topo Clear near Clayton. Clayton near Evia Segaja for the first time there. Omunya we na menso menye nyankopon kakra. Esi bitimi nye nyankopon di bi. Eti me po me ho na anya yi. Me po me ho anya yi adi me ava. Me po ho na anya djuma. Anya djuma we de na anya djuma. Adi bi ko hu Nigeria fo no ma hu se Nigeria fo no nim ye pan. Me dani nyankopon nche. Ora mu bi hu me dani nyankopon ama. Yedi anusie. Yedi anusie. Yedi anusie. Ya gadi. Medim kam wa acha sese. Obo ade no. De nam le so ade nyina aba no. Ansa na oba be pie ha say no wa prepare. What I say? Wa prepare. Na de tie nie. O si ye wo abofra. Ye wo abofra. Ade fitaa bi wo ne ho a ase cheese. Mawu za de no. Ye wo akwada ade fitaa wo ne ho ase cheese. Kantete no wona nanom ye wo akwada saa de no e wo ne ho no ye nhohoro ne ho a dabi ye nhohoro saa ade no ye mane wo akwada ne ho saa ade no e prevent akwada ne skin no from any skin infection. But the name one would they in the name of medicine. In the name of medicine, no. I carries Venice Casusa said then. Sadia no a wakada ne ho no. Se akwada no ma e wakada ne ho for some time. And sana akwada no mo dware no a skin infection enya akwada no. skin infection yina wamo se epo entobro enka pada ya wo na afi ne yekwo wo ne panie entobro panie we panie but onyankopon wo ba ade no wa prepare akwala no for all these things. But the empania ni kwa yakwala ni se empania ni kwa se yakwala na adwene mpania no mpania ni kwa ma wo ba na kwa ye autistic mpania no wa ba kwan am ye de wo ba no wo ba ne be ye autistic o ma sheda. Yes, courage. Yes, courage. Now me say, woman that in the name of medicine, modern medicine, me catch a one ananom. Awo ye kwa awo quantity, ye kwa awo ye kutu. Awo ye na ye kutu. Ye kutu said ye what do bo pisu chato. Ye kutu. Nya ye da. Anything any mommy for be break kwa so no mawu agya omoma because you don't position akwana mommy ni hie said the be ya awo no wo betumi awo free no afa ne ho afa ne ba nanu mi busa me say wo pa wo ye experiment agyanan de ti fi de wo pa da ho na gya wonan na hwe agyanan de da ho na gya wonan na hwe na koto na gya wonan so na hwe na wo akoto na wo na hwe koto na wo na hwe Archbishop Sanko Edo Aswajebre ti de kwasi broni wo ba ye ni nyina ne se wo be se wo nananom de omo ye nyina pure knowledge oba no be den no akwa wo so awu okoto ade ne beba naturally e beba because a force and e twene ba a force a assassin no na e friend no what you say a force na e de ne ba. What you say? Your friend of magnetism. Now by okra. Now okra de okra de. Ka okra kwasi kra de ka okra ba wi ase da ba nie na wa beji bibia kantan so saa no. Enyewa. Nyewa. Eya. Ni ewura fi. But the nei yakai. See any penny no. Dia fe free na akuri. Ebe hyase ni aye yempani niema efiri na kuro yen kan kire yempani fo ne se abrofo no ebedi ye so no enya taxes eno mo de build e wo mo man no enti yen so yen fa taxes en build ye man ye de mineral resources na ye nananom jama yen no ebe build ye man. We are ready to fight for this country. Ye nya entokwa ne ma ye nchirima entokwa we ye nya ma na ama mo meko sa entokwa ye nya ma na ama mo meko enti wo bo aboso e free some moment ikwe ye nationalize all your assets, your mineral assets, just like the Arabians did. And therefore, there's going to be a lot of pushbacks. They will plunge us into darkness. Crude won sem no air kono. Se e ban critical se yenche na obi enya bi na obi nya bia Africa ye nya bi. Crude oil won sem no aba no. Se yenhia nyansa ochina esumbe to Africa. And then Europe patch out. Akano. We have everything on. Crude oil no ki will be you to be. Ye to be o. So ye to ko ni a import. Enti wo da ka kire mi o. Se me ye mpanifo ni nyansa. Wo ebula, wo nsuo wo fie, nsuo da wo fie. Nsuo no. Wo na wo sese nsuo ne de makrofo. Omo di nsuo ne ko omo kuro mu a. Na omo di nsuo na kogu bottle mu na wo di akọ import nsuo na be no. Nsuo ne da wasase so. Crude oil no wo bio. From Roma refinery no wo she bi ase maamu. Think out to crude oil no refine it. Now we use ade. Timi de school de. Kwasi broni school no. Aha bibini. Kwasi broni missionary schools no. Kwasi broni Salem schools no. Kwasi broni Christian villages no. Aha bibini. Aha bibini. Amwa bibini, abua broni ni mu. Abua bibini. Amwa ye. Tamale refinery ai Yesu ba. Ga mama mo ba ye na se omo kananado mo ton. Tamale refinery me ka kire kananado aban na ton. Ko mo ton me ka mo ati. Ko mo ton. But then they operational. Omo de ye adwuma kakra. This is what we are dealing with too. Today we have a country on MPP for ni omo na do ne omo nkrofo no. Se wo do Ghana. Niger politicians no money omo politics. Because politicians no, they also have owners. They have handlers who handle them. What I say? Me did in a nature of hinejumede ya bakose me. Say ene e din komo bebre ye hu na kwan e fa so a Christian village e ba e kwan e fa so a Salem usu Salem boys and all these schools no it came into being. Schools no, they didn't create the schools to develop your mind no. They created the schools said they be a labor force ebeye adwuma adiama the colonial administrators. It was not for our benefit. It was for the benefit of the colonizers. Midi ya na chidom hene dwumadi ide e abakosem e history 101 and e yesua de ehunu kan ye fa so a Salem and Christian villages came into our land. And e yesua de ehunu se oman Jordan enye oman. It was created by the British Empire. Just like UAE was created by the British Empire. Namika Wakogan. The Saudi family. The Saudi family. They are Jewish. Janko for Crawford, I'm control Bibia. Control. They control your religion, your finance, everything. Me do see how many I could do. Salam. Okay, all right, okay. Salam, all right, nice one, Salam. Okay. It's more fancy, yeah. And that brother, I went to accommodate so. And that brother, I went to accommodate so. Aye. Me the boss, some of you break in my issue. Bye bye, Accra.